So, last time on Necrobarista, we just finished playing a knife game with the current owner, Maddie, I believe her name is. What's the current dead guy's name? It's something like really unique and interesting, and I forget. But in any case, the most recent dead person that is currently in the cafe. They just played a knife game and wagered hours. Because the currency in this particular cafe of the dead is time left. So it's a place for dead people to come and spend one final day before they pass on. And the management has accrued quite a bit of debt in terms of time, so they're in a bit of a sticky wicket, as it were. So, as a sort of last resort, Maddie, the current owner, decided to gamble in order to get the time needed to pay off said debt to the Council of Death, I think? Council of something, it's some government, Let's get into it. Let's keep going. So I did say last time I would start this up, we would get right into this, because I unlocked this right before. So let us get going, and let's see if I can remember all the voices I gave these people. Oh, Keishan's. Wait, was it Keishan? I don't remember. Keishan's footsteps echoed in a way that startled him. Oh wait, I don't actually need the mouse. I can just use space. Were his footsteps always so loud? Perhaps it was just the contrast with the surrounding environment, which seemed too completely silent, that made his footfalls seem so jarringly loud as he walked along the catwalk. He was on a catwalk. Why was he on a catwalk? There seemed to be a gaping space below him, filled with some sort of mist that he couldn't see through. It was fog-like, and yet, despite the fog that lapped at his feet, the air felt so dry. The air was thick here. As he breathed heavily, Kishin felt an overwhelming, sweet, sickly odor, like the smell of wet or rotting wood. But all he could see around him were steel beams and a concrete bath in front of him. Was it rust he was smelling? No, he knew the smell of rust. This was different. This smell was somehow organic, like the smell of a forest after a fresh rainfall. Kishin shivered. Far in the distance, he could see what looked like a building of some sort, so far away that it made the structure he was inside feel almost tunnel-like, as if its only purpose was to convey him to that distant building. He continued walking forward, but as he walked, the building seemed to be growing more and more distant. He quickened his pace, and as he walked faster, he could feel himself moving through the thick, stifling air. Yet, as he looked down, he could see the texture of the catwalk in front of him, unchanged, as though he were walking in place. Oof, that's a nightmare. Trying to run towards something and it feels like you're not going anywhere. Ugh. Luckily, I've never had any of those kinds of dreams or nightmares, but they are definitely an unsettling, uncomfortable feeling. Kishin started to turn backwards, but saw only a blinding light. His eyes immediately shut, and when he opened them, he was again facing into the tunnel, with the distant building at the center of his field of view. He tried turning around, but every time he tried to turn his head, his eyes involuntarily shut at the sight of the light, and he was forced to close them, or look away, always confronted again with the sight of the small hut when he opened his eyes. Oof. Big feels. Big feels. Nothing he does can save him from his fate. His heart pounded violently inside of his chest, and the tunnel was so quiet that he could hear his own heartbeat, feel his own pulse inside his head. Something about this place felt deeply, incredibly wrong. Get back. I have to get back. He tried turning again, and this time found himself unable to even begin rotating his body before his eyes snapped shut, placing him again in the world of darkness until he opened them again and was confronted with the sight of the small hut in the distance, now looking more far away than ever. I have to get back. Kishin kept facing the building and took a step backwards. As he placed his foot on the ground, he felt a gust of wind knock him forward. He let out a yelp of terror. Ha! Instinctively, his hand reached for the opposite edge of the catwalk as he fell, trying to steady himself for fear of falling off. The catwalk was wide enough that his body didn't land close enough to the edge for that to have been a risk, and yet, as he looked towards the edge, he felt a growing sense of dread that there was something down there that would capture him if he allowed it to capture even the smallest hold of him. Almost as he thought it, he felt the sensation of something pressing against his legs. He stumbled to his feet. He ran forward. The hut ahead of him seemed to grow no closer as he ran, but he ran all the same, running not to reach a destination, but to be away from whatever it was that was behind him. Moments ago, his only thought was an overwhelming desire to turn back, a worry that he somehow was trapped in here. But now that worry was replaced with an overwhelming sense of dread that propelled him forward. He had been pushed forward by something. Something was behind him. Kishin leaned forward and ran. He was no runner. He often found himself winded when forced to climb more than one flight of stairs. And yet he ran and felt no sense of tiredness holding him back. No need to catch his breath. Maybe it was the thick air here that somehow never allowed him to run out of breath. Maybe it was the fear of whatever was behind him was that strong. Kishin felt the air stinging at his eyes as he ran. By now he was running so fast that the thick air felt like hot wind on his face. Tears began running down his face, but he couldn't find it in him to raise a hand. To wipe at his eyes, that would mean slowing his sprint. So he closed his eyes, fully aware that he was running down a catwalk and had no handrail on either side. At this point, he didn't care. He ran away. Long after the tears on his face had dried, Kishin realized he could hear only the sound of his own feet as they struck the catwalk. He couldn't even hear the rush of wind as it seemed to buffet his face. There were no sounds of anyone or anything pursuing him. Perhaps there was no pursuer at all. He allowed himself to open his eyes and look down. He looked over his shoulder. This time there was no blinding light, only a distant glow, like the light at the end of a long tunnel. In a way, it was the light at the end of a long tunnel, and in observing the dim glow of the distant light, Kishin suddenly realized just how far he had run. He turned around and saw the building right in front of him. It had windows that were covered with the same fog that covered the ground around him. Kishin reached out for the door handle. He half expected it to be locked, and felt a moment of panic as the handle bowed under the pressure of his hand. He was ready to face what was ever on the other side of that door. Did he even want to enter? Did he even have a choice? What was it that awaited him inside of this building? Answers, or more baffling questions. Kishin looked down the tunnel and suddenly felt cold. Whatever this place is, he needed to escape it, and the only form of egress that seemed available to him was the door of this building. He leaned on the handle and felt the door swing open. Excuse me. Ooh. It's been a while since I've read aloud. Glad I have a full glass of water with me. That's definitely gonna need to be... Okay. Oh, so we got some backstory to Kishin's experience passing on, or at least coming from one side of death to the other. Right, I guess to this place. I don't think I can do this yet. I think I'm missing some things. Yeah, I don't have quite enough memories, so I just need to continue on. Wait, can I unlock this one? Oh, I can unlock this one too. That's right. Okay, okay. Let's read this one. I don't know who Brad is. Who the heck is Brad? Let's see. What voice do we give Brad?
You know, kid, you got style.
It was the first unsolicited remark he'd heard from the old man. From Old Man Thomas all night. Oh, Brad perked up. Oh, that was... Okay. So it was Thomas. Got it. Okay. He'd been expecting a compliment after beating Thomas, but to hear that kind of comment after a loss made him perk right up. Thanks? Said Brad.
It wasn't a compliment,
said Thomas. And just like that, Brad's mood came crashing down. Thomas continued.
All the best players back in the day, none of them had style. Style doesn't win tournaments.
Sure, said Brad.
Consistency is what wins tournaments. Consistency doesn't mean anything. That's a symptom of skilled play. It's not a thing you can just decide on. No one sits down at the table thinking, gee, I better be consistent today. Nobody. So if you're not thinking about consistency, what are you thinking about? Fundamentals?
Thomas chucked the end of his cue.
Fundamentals are what matter most, because if you don't get the fundamentals right, all the fancy shit isn't gonna matter.
Thomas leaned down to line up his cue.
The straight-in shot is your specialty. Several opponents told me that.
Exactly that.
Tongue-in-cheek, thinking that they were insulting me. But I take it as a compliment. If you control the cue ball, you can turn any shot into a chip shot. That's what you want to do. That's how you can still sink 'em, even at my old age. I know I've been watching you.
Oh, I know I've been watching you. Your cue ball control is incredible. You're a very talented player.
Not talented. You can do it too. The question is whether you've got the discipline and patience.
Thomas followed through with his stroke and hit the apex of a triangle head on. Of the triangle, he sank 2 balls, one stripe, one solid. He pointed to the striped one, signifying his choice. I'm plenty disciplined. When I was in high school, I'd come out every day after school and put at least 4 hours of practice. Sometimes, I'd come in after dinner to squeeze in a few hours more. Then on the weekends, I'd come and spend all day up here.
Of course you did. All the pros have. Anyone can put in the time. At a certain point, what matters can't be the number of hours you put in, because everyone puts in the time. What matters is how you use that time. And it seems like you spent a lot of that time practicing trick shots.
Thomas lined up and made several practice strokes. Brad found himself getting annoyed with Thomas. Brad knew better than to try to talk to Thomas while he was lining up a shot. That was bad etiquette, and bad sportsmanship, plain and simple. But it kept him from offering timely retorts to Thomas's statements. It was bad sportsmanship, Brad decided, to talk at an opponent in a situation where etiquette forbade him from responding. Thomas finally took the shot and sunk a solid colored ball. But a bad bounce put the cue in the pocket with it. Excuse me, 1 second. Someone was calling me, do not recognize the call, so I'm not answering. Where was I? Ah, yes. Brad sighed with relief as he took control of the ball, and with it, control of the conversation. You're right. It takes a lot of practice. Brad lined up a shot, aiming at one of the balls in the opposite corner. If he could get the angle just right, he took the shot, and the cue ball knocked one of the striped balls into the back left pocket before ricocheting and hitting another ball into the back right pocket. A clean double. Brad tapped the table with his cue, as if to emphasize the shot he had just made.
You don't learn
how to do that shit overnight.
That's a nice trick. Now, can you do the same thing 10 times in a row without messing up?
No. It's a hard shot. About 10%er for most people. But I'm good. I can get it 30-40%.
A 30% shot isn't worth taking. If I offered you a coin flip with a weighted coin, would you take it?
No, of course not.
And yet, you take the low percentage shot.
I make it a higher percentage shot, though.
Yes, and I'm sure you look like a big hero by doing it. But when you miss, no one calls you on it because defensive shots are boring.
I can play defensively. But you don't win games by playing defensively.
Of course not. There's nothing on the scoreboard that lets you tabulate the places where you denied your opponents a point.
Brad was angry now, and he began lining up his next shot, just so he wouldn't have to hear the old man talk. Some players might get tilted in a situation like this, but Brad played better when he was emotional. Whatever it was that made him play better under pressure also made him play better while angry. He couldn't even think about the shots he was making. He was operating on pure instinct and conscious thought. The thought that was chased away by anger was only a distraction. Brad tried for another double. He missed the second ball, but one was enough to set him up for a triple bank shot, which he followed with another shot that put spin on. He didn't even need to curve the ball around. Anything. He just wanted to show Thomas that he could do it reliably. Fortunately, he didn't get punished for it. His last shot placed one of Thomas's balls between the black 8 ball and the white cue ball. Ooh, dangerous. Dangerous. For those who've never played billiards before, generally speaking, whoever sinks the first ball, that's what they go for. So either stripes or solids, because there are 2 types, and I think there's 12 of each, or something. There's some odd number. And you keep sinking them until only the 8 ball is left for your specific side, and then you have to call where you're going to sink the 8 ball, and that's how you win. So he's in a bit of a pickle. Brad knew that he could sink the shot easily by hitting Thomas's solid into his stripe, but he was on fire and wanted something flashy. Ooh. This is not going to end well. I'm going to call it right here. He struck the cue ball's base, driving the leather tip of his stick into the table, and it bounced the ball up and over Thomas's ball, hitting his own and sending it into the pocket. Brad turned to Thomas with a look of defiance. Looks like this game is mine, old man.
Yep.
He took another sip of his beer.
Is that all you have to say?
Oh, is that all you have to say?
Yep.
How about, oh, you outplayed me?
Do you need me to tell you that?
A little acknowledgement would be nice. A moment after he finished saying it, Brad found himself cringing. He was sounding like a petulant child. He was frustrated and angry and disappointed. But knowing all of this about himself didn't make it any less true. Thomas shrugged.
I thought you played to win the game, not for validation.
Oh, give me a break. That line coming from a pro. When you compete, play to win, sure. But there's money on the line. And the money goes to the person who gets the W. You play to win the game, you get the money. But I get the feeling you're playing for something else.
What are you talking about?
Ah, shoot. Ah, it's so hard to figure out who's talking. Apologies. What are you talking about?
You play to impress people. That's different from playing to win. That's why you never take the defensive shot.
I just won.
Yup. But you weren't playing to win. Just because you happen to win doesn't mean you made the right decision.
How the hell does that not make any sense? Oh, how the hell does that make any sense? Thomas took a coin out of his pocket.
Here's a hypothetical. Suppose I have a coin. I ask you to call heads or tails on a $1 bet. Now, you know the coin is weighted. It lands on heads 70% of the time. What do you bet on?
Heads, of course.
Now I flip the coin. It comes up tails. Bad luck, Brad. You just lost $1. But, did you make the right decision?
What?
Thomas continued. If you had called tails, you'd have won the bet. Clearly, calling tails was the wrong decision. But sometimes you make the wrong decision and get short-term payoffs. That's why the fact that you won doesn't necessarily mean that you made the right decision. And sometimes these things only reveal themselves after you flip the coin hundreds of times.
I've played hundreds of games. And that's as a pro. Practice games, I play hundreds of games a week. Easy. Maybe 200 games a week, depending. And how many times have you made the WBC? I won the WBC.
Right? The thing about calling tails. Sometimes even if you make the wrong choice, randomness comes up in your favor. And you happen to run hot. But in the long run, things don't quite pan out.
Brad threw his cue down. So now you're saying that my wins were all due to luck?
Not all luck. Like you said, it takes some skill to take a 10% shot into a 30%. A lot of skill, in fact. You've got good hands, and a good eye for a ball. But the lust for a cool shot supersedes that. You'd rather fail spectacularly than win through boring play.
Fuck you. You know what? I actually won the WBC. Maybe I did run hot for just 1 year. But at least I have a championship to my name. I'm gonna guess WBC stands for World Billiards Championship? Competition? Championship? Moving on. You made it to the final 6 times and lost every time. Now your career is done. You're over with. You'll never be a WBC champion, a title which I hold, by the way.
You're right. I don't mean to knock the high variance approach. Maybe that's what you want, to win once and then burn out.
Yeah, that is what I want, said Brad, annoyed to find himself agreeing with Thomas. What have you done in your life since retirement, old man? Ever done anything wild? I bet I've lived more in one night than you have in your entire life.
I'm happy with the way I spent my life. No regrets.
His eyes softened.
Can you say the same?
The question should have come as a challenge. But there was something in Thomas's eyes as he looked at Brad that made him feel even worse. Thomas's expression wasn't one of antagonism. It was one of pity. Brad knew deep in the pit of his heart that Thomas wasn't doing it to attack him, and that made it sting even worse. Brad started to say something, but found himself choking on a lump in his throat. And as he reached up and felt wetness on his cheeks, he realized he was crying. Ooh. Oh shit, that was the second one. I should have read the first one first. Mistakes were made. I was just excited that I could unlock something. Okay, that's number 2. I'm gonna come back to these when I've read the first ones. To fucking number 3? What? Okay, well. Cellar. Staff only. Let's go back up. Can I unlock any of the other stuff? Ooh, I can unlock this. Cool. The Crucible product reviews. Spirit-resistant quartz crucibles with self-sealing lids. Product description. Heat resistant up to 1,650 degrees Celsius. Hot damn! That's a temperature. Celsius? What is that in Fahrenheit? Ah, get out of here. Whoops. Ah, it doesn't matter. That's fucking hot. Self-sealing lids from airtight seals around the crucible ground rim. Highly resistant to corruption and spiritual interference. Clear inner and outer covering allows for easy spotting of cracks or imperfections. Quality suitable for mixing potions and filtrates. Filtress? Average rating, 3.5 stars out of 5. Product reviews, 5 out of 5. I love this. The covering, despite being quartz, has a textured appearance that gives it a silky smooth feel to it. Most crucibles feel sterile and cold, but this one makes for a perfect beverage container when entertaining guests. 4 out of 5. The previous crucible set I used was inherited from my grandmother, who brought them over from New England. Unfortunately, 2 months at sea were not kind to the spiritware, and her crucibles were filled with tiny cracks and microfractures that allowed unsightly-looking soot to build up, leaving them stained with hard grey lines everywhere, looking like they were about to crack apart at any time. She used them for several decades to come, but every time I worked with her and watched them heat up, I was afraid they were constantly on the verge of shattering. One she used to contain a lost wayward spirit for several days before finding a home for it, and I would get up at night to check the embers under the crucible, and it always unsettled me seeing how fragile the container was. Several times I found myself tempted to tip the crucible over, just to see how easily it would shatter under my soft touch. Needless to say, this new set is much nicer. They are sterile, and I can keep several of them in my bedroom without feeling unsettled by their presence. 2 of the crucibles in my set arrived with a small chip in them, but I contacted the manufacturer and they replaced them no charge. The replacements were express shipped, and the process was quick and painless. So great customer service, and they offer replacements up to 1 year. For the price, they can't be beat. Another 4 out of 5. Owned mine for 2 weeks. Didn't crack. Decent for the price. A 5 out of 5. Received mine in the mail this morning and can't wait to try it out. So glad to have finally found someone selling crucibles at a reasonable price. A brand name, one cost over $200, which is just outrageous. Oh, 1 out of 5.
Bought this several weeks ago, since it was the cheapest crucible on the site advertised as spirit resistant. I worked on a filtre for my graduate thesis and purchased 100 of these for lab use. My plan was to monitor 100 different animal spirits over different types of plant matter to compare how different biomaterials affected the vigor over a 90-day period. The first day, I set the first 5 samples of mugroot, feverfew, ginger, ginseng, and golden seal. I placed them in the crucible at a low heat, 80 Celsius, and left them overnight. And the next 2 days did the same with all the remaining crucibles, finishing on a Friday and leaving the lab alone for the weekend. When I arrived back on Monday, I knew that something was wrong when I noticed a rain cloud hovering over the door. It's not uncommon for rain clouds to appear at any time of the year, at any time of day in our part of the country, but it's quite another to find a rain cloud localized entirely within the hallway of our research lab. I braced for the worst, but I guess I should have braced harder. Nothing could have prepared me for the smell when I opened the door. I immediately felt my eyes watering and actually found myself choking it. It smelled so bad. I slammed the door shut and went to the basement to grab one of the emergency respirators I keep down there. Unfortunately, the respirator did little to mask the terrible stench inside the lab. I opened the first crucible and saw it was filled with a tar-like substance. As I studied its inky, black, writhing form, I felt the air suck out of me, almost like it was trying to drag me into the abyss with it. I threw it on the floor, and the container shattered, splattering the floor with the tar-like substance, which began slowly crawling across the room. I grabbed the fire extinguisher from the wall and sprayed the tar until it was completely covered. I heard what sounded like a sputtering noise, followed by a long gasp and a scream that faded into oblivion. After poking at the fire extinguisher spray, whatever was underneath was clearly quenched. I took the remaining crucibles and placed them in the oven and baked them at a temperature of 1600 degrees for several hours. As I sat alone in the lab, contemplating the cruelty of existence and wondering what my academic advisor would have to say about my thesis project, after hours of waiting, I opened the oven and checked the contents of the crucibles, revealing nothing but ash. Whatever it was that had been drawn by the spiritual emission of my lab work, it was gone from my world. But the memory of that day will haunt me for all the remaining days of my life. Oh, another 1 out of 5. Do not buy this crucible for spirit-related applications. My wife is one of the product designers who worked on this item. The crucibles in this listing come from a manufacturer called Mars Security LLC. Back in 2013, they were some of the best hardware you could get for your money and earned a reputation among hobbyists as great value for any working on a budget. In 2016, they did a survey and found fewer than 3% of buyers were actually using the crucibles for spirit-related applications, and decided they could cut costs by removing the spirit-resistant properties. However, they found that product advertised with updated ad copy to reflect it didn't sell as well, so they continue using the old product description, which advertises as spirit-resistant. With a new product line, which is not spirit-resistant, I don't know how they're getting away with this. Apparently, the definition of what actually spirit-resistant is legally murky, and a number of people affected is small enough that they continue to sell well. Stay far, far away from this one, and warn anyone you know who might buy this item does not work as advertised. 5 out of 5. A nice color. That's it. Ah, we got the full range of reviews. I love it. Thinking about alchemy the wrong way. Oh, okay. Okay, so I can unlock that one. Oh, wait. Can I make the recipe? Can I unlock this one? I can unlock this one, but it's going to take the last of my... country? Dang it. Okay. Hands off the keyboard until I need to move again. So that'll take the last one of my country. This one will take the last of my lore. I keep doing that. Oh, it's such a habit. It's such a habit. Hitting escape to get out of menus. Or to go back. Can I do the fisherman? I'll do the fisherman. I should have enough for that. Where's that? Flashy's Journal 1. I don't think I can do this one yet. Oh, I can do this one. Oh, but it requires this and that. Okay. So I could do the other two, and I'd get 2 more stories out of these. Or I could just do this one. And then Judgment 1. I don't have enough stuff for this. I need another death, and I need another... whatever the fuck his name is. I don't remember. I think it's Ned? Okay, I think that's everything for downstairs. What's this one? Keep the balance. I think this also needs Ned? Oh, no, no, no. I already read that one. I already read that one. That's right. What's this? Oh, Maddie's inbox. I don't think I can do this because I don't have enough I don't have a coffee house, and I would need these 2 as well. Shoot. I wonder if you only get so many of these in the story, and you can only open up, like, unlock so many of them. Ah, I wasted my death one on the downstairs. I could have read Billiards 1. Shit. Oh, and here's the Fisherman 2. Okay, I was wondering where this was. Oh, but it also requires Maddie, and I only have one of those.
Damn it. Such a tough choice. Such a tough choice. Delicate operation. I can unlock delicate operation. Let's go for the 2. Let's go for the most gains. So thinking about alchemy wrong, I can do. That'll get rid of my last lore one. Okay. And then I'm going to unlock the Lamington recipe as well. And that will get rid of my last country one. Oops. No, I wanted to unlock that one. Okay, let's read the recipe. Authentic Australian Lamingtons. Oh, Melbourne, Australia. Fuck, idiot. Idiot. Ingredients. 200 grams butter, 1 cup caster sugar, 5 milligrams vanilla extract, 3 malefield fowl eggs. Or wait, Malleefowl. Malleefowl? I've never heard of that. 500 grams self-rising flour, sifted. 1/2 cup milk. 2 cups shredded coconut. For the icing, 4 tablespoons sugar, mixed and dissolved in water. 1/4 cup cocoa powder. 100 gram butter. 1/2 cup water. You will also need a convection oven, Lamington pan, 3 centimeters deep, 20 by 30 centimeter base, baking paper, an electric mixer, a Lamington. Possible substitutions: chicken eggs can be used in place of Malafie fowl eggs. If electricity is not available, whale oil mixers can be used instead. It is strongly hypothesized that the homunculus made with Lamington DNA could be used in lieu of an actual Lamington, but no confirmed tests have been confirmed due to the lack of success in producing actual homunculi, especially homunculi capable of baking. Instructions. 1. Grease Lamington pan, lined with baking paper. Using electric mixer, beat butter, vanilla, and sugar until airy. Add eggs to mixture. 2. Have your Lamington stir flour into mixture and add milk. Have Lamington pour into pan and smooth. At this point, you may dismiss your Lamington, they are no longer needed. 3. Bake for 30 minutes. 4. Make icing. Boil water and combine ingredients. Beat until smooth. 5. Apply icing coating, 1 mm thick, and sprinkle coconut. Repeat until all icing and coconut have been used. Note that this is not necessary to have a Lamington perform this step. Tips for procuring a Lamington. 1. Any recently departed Lamington who comes into contact with a 40-60 mixture of vanilla and coconut will begin to glow red. Note that a 30-70 ratio of vanilla to coconut mixture will cause them to glow green. The 30-70 mixture can be used in the case of potential Lamington who have particularly flushed cheeks or are otherwise difficult to identify by a red glow. But this is generally discouraged as the effects can persist for several hours and can often be unsettling to guests. 2. Only around 20% of people who claim to be Lamingtons have actual Lamington ancestry. Hence, the need to test potential candidates. Be particularly skeptical of anyone who claims to be directly descended from either Lord or Lady Lamington. Lamington pretenders uniformly claim to be descended from a former lord, leading to the overwhelming of these claimants being falsely positives. Most Lamingtons were agricultural workers, so anyone claiming to be descended from a farmer of Lamington is more likely to be credible, but should still be tested to verify authenticity. 4. Do not bother testing anyone claiming to be a descendant from the 3rd Baron of Lamington, as Victor Alexander Brisbane William Cochrane Body died childless. Gluten-free option? Have a Lamington stir self-rising flour into the mixture is critical to the synthesis process and will not work with a non-gluten alternative. Well then, I guess I'm not baking lamington bread then, because I can't have any of it. But I guess I could bake it for the relatives. It's fine. Just bake something else for myself. TFW, no gluten-free option. Nice. Alright. Last way. Can I do this one, or did I run out of thingamadudes? Oh, okay. I'll do this one as well. Alright, let's do alchemy, and then we'll do fisherman, and then we can get on with the main story. Now that I've unlocked everything that I think I can unlock. Thinking about the alchemy the wrong way. Highlighted passage from Thinking About Alchemy the Wrong Way by Sophie Cordova. I don't know why that took me a second. My brain kind of farted. Highlighted passages from Thinking About Alchemy the Wrong Way by Sofia Cordova. Ooh, alright. Let's see. Textbooky. Push up my glasses for a second here. Most study of alchemy throughout history can be categorized as either practical alchemy, that is, alchemy which aims to understand the world only as well as needed to fulfill certain Unitarian ends, and philosophical alchemy, that is, alchemy which aims to come to a more complete understanding of the world as it is, without prejudice, for which portions of alchemical understanding can be wielded to utilitarian needs. Ends. In modern alchemy movement, there has been a tendency with literature to place a greater emphasis on philosophical alchemy, based on the premise that coming to a more complete and correct understanding of the universe is the best way for us to discover new practical methods for the physical use of alchemy. Much of this is based on the modern scientific movement and the post-Enlightenment era. Much like our understanding of theoretical physics gives us more accurate models of physical reality which have real applications in engineering, having a better understanding of alchemy on a philosophical level informs our practice of alchemy. However, it may be this focus on alchemy, which places an emphasis on being correct rather than useful, has thrown out the baby with the bathwater. Now that's an expression I haven't heard in a long-ass time. Thrown out the baby with the bathwater. My goodness. That's something my grandma used to say. Admittedly, my position here is hardly biased. The fact that practical studies of alchemy have largely been chased underground is the reason that the tome you're reading is self-published, rather than distributed through more official channels. For example, underappreciated in the development of modern alchemical practices is the use of the five-element model. Early pre-Aristotelian alchemical models were based on the understanding of five elements: wood, fire, earth, metal, and water. Later, Aristotelian alchemical models separated elements into four categories of earth, water, air, and fire. While this model may be more accurate and reflect an evolution of our understanding of alchemy, it seems to sacrifice the more practical separation of elements in the way that better allows us to understand less tangible things. While wood is not an element strictly speaking, it helps us to think of it as such. After all, juxtapositioning wood against elements, such as metal and fire, make it apparent that wood possesses certain soul-like qualities that other elements lack, which might prompt us to question what it is about wood that seems to make it behave like a super-element, with practical uses beyond the conventional. There is a great irony in the fact that while these kinds of questions eventually led us to discard the five elements model, a new model no longer allows for the existence of this sort of question to exist in academic literature. This book serves as my guide to asking the wrong questions to arrive at the wrong. answers, and nonetheless seem to work. It is a book for troublemakers and rule breakers indeed. The fact that you hold this book in your hands right now is probably evidence that you have broken several rules to acquire it. That, or you are a rule enforcer tasked with destroying my work, who for some reason has decided to take the time to read it. Perhaps you are reading my work in search of identifying information which might lead you to my location. Or you are reading to gain a better understanding of someone whom you consider to be an enemy. Perhaps after reading my work you will realize that my ideas are not so dangerous as you've been to believe. Or perhaps you will realize that they're exactly as dangerous as you've been told. Ooh. Fascinating. That is true. For a good long while, it used to be wood, metal, water, fire, air. And then it changed to just earth, water, fire, air. And that's how we get Avatar, The Last Airbender. Excellent, excellent animation. Haven't seen it? Go watch it. I think it's still on Netflix. All right. The Fisherman. Fisherman 1. Maddie was about to leave the counter when an old-looking man pushed the door open. Oh, this one's short. He was hunched over and walked with a bit of a limp, and even at the distance, she could see the leathery texture of his skin, a testament to many years well lived. Maddie had been about to leave the counter to Che, but there was something in the way the man walked that made her want to stay long enough to see if he had any special requests. She wasn't sure if she would like the man, and in fact was fairly sure there was a good chance that she would have much to say. Chance that she wouldn't have much to say to the man, or much that she would be interested in hearing from him. Oof. Apologies. But it was obvious that the man had paid his dues, and she felt that she owed him at least a few moments of her time. Even if he hadn't done anything in life worth admiration, he at least had done enough to earn her respect. It was only when the man sat down that Maddie saw that his skin was cracked, but not wrinkled. His body had been aged, but it had been aged by the elements, and the sun more than it had been aged by the passage of time. The slight limp in his step could have easily been the limp of a young man who had spent one day too many lifting loads that were 1 kilo too heavy for him. He took a seat directly in front of her.
Is there food here?
Apparently the man was more interested in finding out what was on offer than figuring out where he was. Maddie kept herself from visibly smirking. There was something she liked about the guests like that. People whose only question was what was on tap. Maddie glanced at Che. He gave a nod of assent. Yes, Che was willing to play the role of the grill master today. We do serve food here. The man squinted up at the menu above him.
My eyes don't work well like this. Got a paper menu?
Maddie reached under the counter and pulled out a menu that looked just as aged as the man sitting in front of her. His scars were from coffee stains, not cuts. But as watched the man hold the menu. Oh, I'm dumb. No wonder the sentence didn't make sense. Its scars were from coffee stains, not cuts. But as watched the man hold the menu, there was something about the combination of the two of them that felt right to her. I will say some of the sentence structure I've noticed is a little weird, and some of the verbiage also is a tad strange. Like, after sitting here and reading it for a second, it makes sense in my brain, but it takes me a second. It's like reading Shakespeare. Okay, it's not that bad. Never mind. That was terrible. Shakespeare is like, ugh. 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 It's not even English at that point. Yeah. The man stared at the menu for a good long deal. A deal longer. It must have taken him to read everything on it. He finally spoke after a long, considered pause.
Do you suppose it would be a problem if I were to order something if I didn't intend to actually eat it?
That's not the kind of thing that would offend me. Actually, it was exactly the kind of thing that would offend her. Yet, there was something in the way the man asked that made her feel like whatever reason he might have for not eating food he was served, it would be a good one. And she was half interested to find out what the man's reaction would be.
I'll have the grilled halibut,
He said. Ah, halibut. She understood. Many people enjoy the concept of grilled fish more than they liked in practice, and if the man knew himself well enough to be upfront and honest about that, she could respect it. I can't promise it's never been frozen. I hope that's not a problem.
Sure wouldn't be. Sounds like my kind of fish. The best halibut swimming cold was. And a problem if that water happened to be in solid form after the halibut passes.
She nodded to Che, who nodded back and headed to the freezer. The man placed both his hands on the counter and folded them. There was something serene in the way that man sat there, with no inclination to glance around and inspect the cafe he was in. No nervous movement in his legs. No strained expression on his face to express that he was waiting for something to happen. He looked so calm that Maddie almost didn't want to disturb him. But she chaffed at the idea that only squeaky wheels were deserving of grease. Some wheels were just too polite to ask. You want a drink while you're waiting on that?
I don't need a drink.
Alright. Picking up a whiskey bottle and placing it in his field of view, a reminder of what he was free to ask. The man squinted.
Is that Jack Daniels?
Oh, Jack Daniels. Ooh, I hope it's the honey rum. 'Cause that shit is tasty. Indeed it is. The man's shoulders rose, a bit in what looked like barely a chuckle. Got a fondness for that drink particular?
It's just that we share the same name. I'm Jack Daniel. No relation to the distiller. I had several friends who took it upon themselves to check. You might imagine I've seen a lot of those bottles over the years. It's the kind of gift that people enjoy giving you when you have a name like that.
Is it a gift you enjoyed receiving?
Always a pleasure to receive a gift. It's nice to know that you have friends who care about you and think about you.
Is it a gift you enjoyed consuming?
I had a shelf in my flat where I collected them, waiting for other people to come so I'd have an excuse to open them.
Ah. Picking up the bottle and placing it below the counter. Sorry if I brought up a bad memory.
Where's the bad memory? They're good to receive from friends, and good to share with friends. It's a reminder of the people who I had close to, and the things I did with them. No need to apologize for that.
Maddie smiled. She was beginning to find that she liked Jack, and it seemed like Jack was the kind of person who liked her. If for no other reason than that, he liked people, and Maddie was people. She chuckled with him, and she enjoyed the chuckle so much that she almost missed Jack's momentary sideways glance, an unguarded moment when his mind seemed to be on something other than what he was talking about. It was only an instant, but it was a flicker of pain that she'd learned to recognize over the years. There was something in him that was hurting, even as he remembered his friends. A sense of loss, a regret about something left unsaid. Maddie wasn't sure. Whatever it was none of her business. But she wanted it to be her business. Well, anything you want, just ask.
Cup of water, 1 glass of milk.
1 glass of milk? Oh. Excuse me. Cup of water, 1 glass of milk.
1 glass of milk. How old do you think I am?
Maddie shrugged. 5 or 6, just the right age to drink a tall glass of milk before being shooed off to bed at 8 o'clock in the evening.
I'm just barely older. But if I do want that glass of milk, I guess I know who to ask.
Oh. I don't know why, but the way that one was written, that one kind of hit me. I could just picture this man so clearly in my mind. God, this game is great. These stories are something. I love them. Okay, unfortunately, I don't think I can unlock any more. Because, yeah, I ran out of those. Judgment 1, I need right. I don't have the right stuff for that either. This one I read. That one I read. Like I'm just wandering around trying to click on stuff. Everything downstairs is a second one. I don't want to go through that quite yet. Let's see, there's nothing up here, was there? Oh, the Fisherman 2. Man, this one I really want to read now. But I used up all of these. Shit. Okay, I'm pretty sure I'm out of everything. Yeah, I don't even have those. I used all of them. All I have left are 3 Ashleys, a Kishian, a Che, and a Magic, which I don't think I can use any of them on. Okay, let's continue the main story then. Get some more of these. Let us continue the main story and see if I can remember all the main characters' voices that I gave them. Maddie's I kind of get. I need to fix it. I need to work on it just a little bit. But we'll get there. Che's I just use my own. Kishan, I think I just used a raspy voice, but yeah, well, I got it. We'll be fine. Man, I wish I could see this in full graphical fidelity. I have to turn down the graphics, otherwise it lags the stream. But this is a shot. This is a fucking shot. Ah, Kevin with your music. Oh, it's so good. Looking out at the sunset over the sea. I should take a quiet moment here, just for a sec. Just for a sec. Apologies for my drinking. Day 2, 5 p.m. outside the terminal. It's Ned.
You right? Yeah, I guess. Cool. Mind if I join you? Go for it. Durry? Huh? You want a durry?
I'm sorry,
Durry. Coffin nail. Cigarette? You want to smoke or not?
Oh, right, of course. Yeah, sure. Sorry, it's been a weird day. Yeah, get the mouse out of here. I can just use the spacebar from now on. Thanks.
No worries. Where you from then?
Huh? You're the first to ask. I live in Collingwood.
Oh yeah? Whereabouts?
Smith Street.
Be pricey up there these days, isn't it? Bet you like your Avo toast.
Ha. Piss off. I've got housemates. Well,
no, I know what you mean. Bit odd. Being dead and all that.
takes some getting used to. People keep saying that, but it doesn't make me feel any better.
I understand.
Do you?
I reckon as much as anyone can, yeah?
Right. Hey, what's Avo toast actually taste like?
Oh. Hey, what's Avo toast actually taste like?
Huh?
I've never had it.
Can't you just go out and eat some? I'm sure Matty could whip it up if you asked.
Avocados are a highly malevolent fruit. Don't trust them one bit. Plus, I've got this whole situation.
Oh, so that's what the straw was for.
You got it. So, what does it taste like?
I don't know, like avocado on toasted bread. Avocado is kind of cold and mushy, but it's got a good taste.
Like peas?
Definitely better than mushy peas.
Love me a bowl of peas, mate.
What? Because they're the only thing you can eat through a straw?
Watch yourself.
Gonna zap me with your Death Council powers?
First off, the Council of Death, not Death Council. They're totally different things.
Oh, are they now? Council of Death, Death Council. I guess technically, yeah. They would be different. Council of Death, meaning the Council for Death, as opposed to a Death Council, which is a council that... never mind, you know what, forget it.
Secondly, you really think that's what we do? Walk around shooting lightning out my fingers?
Well then, you put it like that, it sounds a bit silly, yeah.
We don't do anything like that. We just keep things running smooth, is all. Harassing cafe owners to settle their time debt isn't something we like to do often.
So you just keep the peace?
As fucking ironic as that sounds, yeah, Ned keeps the peace.
Dude.
I know. Want another?
Sure. Aw, they're having a nice little moment. Oh, the symmetry there. Oh, I love it. Oh, wait, it's not perfectly symmetrical, but it's close enough. Oh, Maddie's back. I love the sunrise here.
Hey, alright.
You watch many sunrises, Ned?
Not enough, nah. Even semi-immortals need their sleep.
I just like to sit here and watch it. Even when it's cloudy or rainy, there's just something about watching the sunrise. Makes it easy to deal with the coming day.
Feeling optimistic all of a sudden?
Nah, I still feel like shit. How about you, Kishin? Kishin?
I don't feel great. I'm still having a lot of trouble, You guys, I'm dead, and I've only got a couple hours left before I have to go. I don't think anyone here really properly understands what it's like to see your last sunrise ever, without any idea of what's to come next. That's really fucking terrifying. I'm never gonna see my friends, or my boyfriend, or my family again. I'm just gonna pass on and never know if they'll remember me, or mourn me, or if I'm ever gonna be remembered as a good dude who tried his best. I'll just be forgotten in a year. But that good dude who tried his best couldn't even win a frickin' game of five-finger fillet in a basement of a cafe that basically sits on the bank of the Styx, as far as I can tell. And God, I can't even tell if that matters. Were the stakes low? High? I can't tell, I'm so disoriented. I'm trying so desperately to feel something, but all I feel is I'm slipping away with every second. I'm losing myself by degrees, and that's incredibly scary, and I don't know how to deal with it.
Yeah, fair cop. I actually come out here to apologize for that. The game.
Oh, for God's sakes, Maddie, what have you been gambling again?
I can it, Ned. Kishin. I shouldn't have taken time from you.
You took it fair and square.
I don't feel like I did. I'm giving it back. Believe me, as surprised as you are, I don't usually do this.
What's different this time?
That's my business.
I can't believe you're still swindling people out of hours just to try to fix your debt.
Dude, I know.
It's bloody undignified. It's a clear violation of the rules.
I will banish you right now, my man.
I thought you'd stop pulling that crap once you took ownership of the cafe from Che. You really think doing this is going to help you pay his debt?
Yes, absolutely. And if I've got any bright ideas on how to do it otherwise, I'm all ears.
You should have never granted you and Shay those licenses to practice. You've obviously failed your responsibility with them.
You really think we wouldn't be doing it if we didn't have the license, Bushman? Given your history, the hypocrisy on display here is astounding.
It's all behind me, and you know it. I've been working on doing some good for the last 100 years.
With the council? Really?
Yes, we maintain the balance. You know why that's important.
Sure do. I don't need you moralizing at me from your ivory tower.
Give it a rest, guys. But I'm pulling the last day on Earth card. Quit it.
Alright. I'll be inside. Come find me when you want those hours back, Kishin.
For what it's worth, I'm sorry about all this. I've never been to the other side. I was too afraid to leave. Walked the land for decades, evading the council. That's a crime they call reverency. Staying too long, upsetting the balance. But in lieu of booting me straight to the next place, or some sort of eternal punishment, the council offered me a job. Sorry, that's all stuff you don't care about, I suppose. Yeah, it's interesting enough. No, I'm just filling up empty air. You should head inside and grab those hours back. Truth be told, I'm not feeling especially fond of Maddie right now. She might have been dishonest with you, but even I can tell. She's at the end of her rope. You might not be able to see it yet, but I think people in there are fond of you. You think so? Maddie wouldn't have offered the hours back if she wasn't something different about you. Plus, that kid Ashley seems to like you, yeah? I guess. She kind of just dragged me off and got me to hold screwdrivers for her. Trust me, she thinks you're great. Go on inside and say hi. I've got some business to go to, stick my nose into anyway. Alright. Catch you in a bit. I got some questions about the council. Do you now? Interesting. Of course. I won't be out for long. Later, mate.
Hey,
Yo,
you want those hours back?
I guess so. It's only 4 hours. I don't think it'll make much difference.
It's okay. I prefer you have them back. Ashley's been enjoying having you around.
Just Ashley?
Me too, I guess.
You seem pretty reluctant to admit that, my dude.
Don't psychoanalyze me. Sit still for a minute. Alright, lay your hand on mine and place your index finger on my wrist.
Is it part of your ritual or just an excuse to hold hands?
Shut up. Thanks. Watch carefully, and no matter what you do, don't move your hand. There's usually a binding spell I use to make sure that doesn't happen, but I've run out of the reagents required. And you probably don't care about that.
True.
Alright, yep. I'll give this time freely and without coercion. As above, so below, I maintain the balance.
Ow!
I maintain the balance. That's it. How you feel?
I actually feel better. I feel less itchy.
Yeah, we weren't kidding about that yesterday. As you linger, you begin to upset the balance, and as I understand, it doesn't feel good.
Right, yeah. Why does Ned get to stick around then? Does he just ignore it?
The council are a special case. They're more similar to demigods or demons than they are to us.
That's fascinating.
Tell me about it. I'd have joined ages ago, but they're uptight dicks.
They don't seem so bad to me.
That's because you've not run into any of their ridiculous rules. Bunch of bloody regulations on manipulating life force, certain standards on treatment of spirits.
Is that why you gave my hours back? Because Ned realized you broke the rules?
Nah. That was within our guidelines, despite his blustering.
I gave him back because I felt bad. That's all.
Oh, neat. So you pity me. I love that. I'm actually really into it. No, dude, it's not like that at all. Nah, you don't need to clarify. I get it.
Seriously. Last day on Earth. Moving on.
Fine, sure. I'm sorry. Sorry, I've got to serve this customer.
I'll help.
Really? It's probably not a two-person job.
Yep. Come on.
I keep forgetting the black screen. I also need to push the thing. Ah, man. Rough stuff. Ah, that's a familiar sound. Day 2. 6 p.m. in the terminal.
Phew. Anything else need doing?
No. I'm gonna take this tray of glasses into the kitchen. You can go chill for a bit.
I'll take him. You need a break.
Sure.
Where's the kitchen?
That way. You'll find it eventually.
Cool. Back in a minute. Oh boy. Here we go. Your pawns are nothing compared to the raw power of my castles. Nothing!
Yeah? What's this then? Oh, boom! Get rickety wrecked.
Ah! My castle! Brought low by my own hubris.
No, it was just a pawn. And maybe a little bit of hubris. Bishop. Knight.
Ah!
Your other castle, and check. Check, you say?
Check, you say?
Oh, I didn't think of that.
You activated my trap card. Oh, hey, Maddie. Come check this out. I tricked him into a false sense of security.
Oh man, that's embarrassing. You seriously let her outmaneuver you like that? Yes? I'm very ashamed. I suppose the real hubris was inside me all along.
I frickin' love winning. I should try doing this more often.
A chance to win at chess? Could grow into a big winning streak, you know?
You wanna play sometime? Something with us?
I should really head back downstairs. There's nobody there. Come on, take a load off. If anyone needs it, they'll know where to find you. How about I grab us all a drink? Make sure there's nobody waiting down there. Then we play something, hey? Won't be 5 minutes.
You actually gonna come back this time?
You never come back. I'll come back. Promise. Why don't you pick out a game while I'm gone? Let's find something, Ashley. What do you like playing today?
Something... something with lots of dice.
Dice it is. We'll see you in a minute, Maddie. Day 2. 6:15 p.m. Ashley's workshop. Oh, that's sick. It's underwater? Oh, that's so cool. I love that. Oh, they're actually playing a game together. That's so adorable. The pieces are them.
And that's why the 4th season of Row Battle Royale was absolute betrayal.
But you still want to be on it one day.
Well, yeah. Unless an indie circuit opens up.
Like in wrestling?
Exactly like in wrestling. Melbourne's got a local show. I want something like that.
You could probably put your own local league together if you worked really hard. Perhaps you could build robots and get people to battle them.
Human-controlled bots are boring, though. I want to get more of that spirit juice and put together a bigger Ashling.
How big?
I think I'll start at car-sized and move on up to a bus-adjacent form factor.
I'm not sure we have enough power for one of those. You'd have to get Maddie to source you a large amount of it. We need liters of it at least.
That'd be super cool. Didn't you say it was illegal, though?
Well, technically. But what Ned doesn't know won't hurt him. He'd lose his head if he knew half the things we were doing around here. I don't know, he seems fairly lenient with you, right? He wasn't always like that. Long time before you turned up, he nearly shut me down because would you believe it? Because I sheltered a criminal? Ned nearly shut you down because of that? Am I thinking the same criminal you are? Trust me, the irony was apparent. I found it very funny.
What sort of criminal were they?
Just a minor demon on the run. I don't know what she did to get a price on her head, but I took her in when she stumbled through the door, dripping blood everywhere. Heh, that's metal. It was extremely metal.
How long did you manage to hide her for?
Oh, not too long. Maybe 6 weeks. Time flew by, if I'm being honest.
Why is that? Was she from the clock realm?
No, nothing like that. We, bonded.
Magically? How'd you do that? I thought I heard you telling Maddie that sort of thing was impossible between beings on this plane.
No, not magically. We were... lovers. Bow chicka bow wow. Ew. Ew. Yuck. Ew. Happier days. I love hearing about when you were young and reckless. Young and restless. Gosh, what do you think I am, huh? Old and boring?
Definitely old.
Despite myself, I must say, you're definitely not boring. There's that patented Maddie charm. Well, you know me. I'm full of them. Oh yeah? Charms, hexes, curses. That's all on your account, old man. Ha, I won't deny it.
Hey, Maddie.
Hey, dude. Having trouble finding the kitchen?
Yeah, I couldn't... I checked everywhere.
It's just behind the bar, man. You can't miss it.
I told you. I checked everywhere.
No. You're not catching my drift. It's just behind the bar. You can't miss it. Have another look. It'll be there this time. Sometimes you gotta remind the quantum hallways that they exist.
Fine.
How long are we going to keep him here, Maddie?
Oh, we're keeping him?
No, we're not keeping him. I'm going to let him stay as long as he wants. He'll leave on his own accord at some point. You feel sorry for him. Weirdly, yes. I don't usually get attached to customers, but he's a good dude.
I like him.
Do you like him because he's nice? Or because he was good at passing you tools?
Yes.
Don't get too attached. He's not gonna be here forever.
Well, duh. I know how it works.
Oh, less goblin-y, more
I'm gonna enjoy having him around. Just like you taught me. Don't cry because it's over. Smile because it happened.
Ashley. That's from the motivational calendar I threw out last week. I never said that.
Same. I'm used to people moving on at this point. I can deal with it.
Good. Day 2, 6:30 p.m. is the terminal. Is that a good thing, though? Being used to people passing on? I don't know. I mean, I suppose if you're in this line of work, you should at least be resistant to it, or what's the word? All the words in the English language, and I can't find the right one for this particular instance. No, not that there really is a precedent for this kind of thing, because as far as we know, this kind of thing don't exist. As far as we know. That is a tricky situation, though. That is a very murky, very, very murky train of thought. All right, let's continue. Man, I'm getting like teary for some of these. These are like hitting me. Fucking love it. This game's so good. If there's anyone out there, fucking go play it. I'm probably not going to get to all the stories. God forbid I'm going to try. Oh, especially the fisherman. I want to finish that. I really like that one. Ooh. It's go time. Whoa. Fuck. What was that? Did Maddie have an idea? Did we... Are her machinations coming into existence? That was a very interesting scene. I'm very, very curious to see where that leads to. Maddie, what have you got scheming? That was a very schemy looking face. You gonna keep staring at that coffee stain or not? Yes. Okay, whatever. What do you want from this conversation? I'm an open book, as far as matters of life and death are concerned. I don't want to go. I know you've probably heard this from, I don't know, 100 people or whatever. It's not about staying around for people who are wanting to go back to my old life. As wonderful and not stressful as that sounds. Like, I'm not afraid of what lies on the other side. I don't think there's any point to be worrying about it until I'm there. I just don't think I've spent enough time here. The cafe? No. All this. I guess you could call it this plane? Roughly speaking, I suppose so. I want to know what you did to be able to stay. Sure. Did Maddie give you those hours back? Yeah, why? Well, that's the way. You can find enough hours to stay as a spirit, half here, half gone. But it's a wretched existence. I wouldn't want to live like that. How would you find the hours, though? There's only so many you can get from consenting beings, right? The crappy psychology of gambling aside, you're right, yes. The question is, how do you do that? How do you create life from nothing? The answer is that you can't, Kishin. It's impossible. There's always got to be some sort of balance maintained. Everyone who learns to manipulate the fundamental life forces understands that. No matter whether they're doing good or bad things with their skills. Here's the thing, though. You don't need both parties to agree. It's just a social nicety. Something that separates us from, well, people who don't do that. Excuse me. Doing both of their voices is kind of tough, especially if it's prolonged. This is a very heavy Ned and Kishin section of the story. Here's the thing, though. Oh, wait. Social nicety. Something that separates us from, well, people who don't do that. That's where the idea of empires came from, for example. Those bastards
They're not special or anything. They're just dickheads.
That's a little better. Less raspy. Easier on my throat.
Anyway, if you can take life force from people, you can also drain it from animals and plants. But in that business, there's a lot we don't or can't understand. One of the things we can't understand is why life force from animals and plants is tainted. Feels gross. If it didn't, everyone would take it. Consequences be damned. How are you feeling today before Maddie took your hours back? I felt like I was slipping away. Like my mind was really foggy. It's really hard to think or put sentences together. Nobody really noticed, though. Typical. Imagine that, but 10 times worse. You're foggy, but also something fundamentally wrong. Like your collection of puzzle pieces that don't quite fit together. Like an engine that's run out of oil. That sounds horrifying. Right? So, should I do it? Eh, probably not. How would I stay otherwise? Well, you could always go on the lam, just run for it. But you'd catch me. Not me personally, but yeah, the council would eventually. And that's it. That's my only option. Perhaps. Depends on how you feel about bonding your soul for eternity to a fundamentally neutral arbiter of justice. I have no strong feelings about it, one way or the other. Smart ass. Eh. Would you regret it if you stayed here forever instead of moving on? I don't know. I guess that'd be up to me, right? How you mean? In the end, how I feel about taking a big branch in my life is just a matter of how I frame it. I can focus on what I'll regret, sure, but I'm not useful. It's not a useful way to spend my time. A truer statement has yet to be said. You can focus on what you'll regret, sure, but not a good way to spend your time. If I focus on the future, on everything that's in the possibility space instead of outside of it, that's probably better for me, yeah? Sure. You don't sound convinced. I'm just ambivalent on it. I'm trying not to think anything too hard these days. But if you're willing to accept eternal bondage with the council, I can keep you here. It's not easy work, though. You have to act the best interest of the system, not its individual parts. Bureaucracy at its finest. How did you learn to deal with it? Just took some time. When you're used to it, you learn not to think too hard about what you're doing. As long as you take a holistic view of everything, things generally shake out alright. We tend to only bother the biggest rule breakers anyway. Maddie being one of them. Habitually. She wouldn't be in so much leeway if it weren't for Che. I don't understand that guy. He's nice, we've chatted a bit. But what makes him so special? He's provided services in the past. You can count on one hand the number of people who know as much about the manipulation of life force as he does. He's been researching it for 100 years. No way. He's that old? He looks like 60 max. Yeah, much older than that. Wild. We're getting sidetracked though. How do you feel about joining the council? I don't hand out offers willy-nilly, you know. I'm interested, but can I have some time to think about it? How much time you have? You've been out for nearly 24 hours. You overdue. Put it on Maddie's tab. Ha! Alright. I assume you're not going to stick around forever? Unlikely. If the next few hours are anything like how I felt this morning,
I'll stick around until you have a solid answer then. Cool. Ooh, Kishin's joining the Council of Death. Wanna get drunk? What are you drinking, mate? Nah, Che told me about something pretty special he's got behind the bar. Unless it's something real special, he's probably not offering some. And even then... So you've tried then? Tried the bottled soul? You pulling my leg? Nope. You've got to be mistaken. You haven't seen it in person, have you? Yeah. I actually have seen it. That's quite illegal. Though I expected better from him. Damn it. So are we going to drink it or not? Council regulations require me to confiscate it or force the owner to dispose of it. We'd be doing him a favor then. I suppose. Come on, dude. Chase said I'd knock you flat. When you say you, do you mean me? Or you? Or just anyone who drinks it? Anyone. It's like 200% alcohol or something. That's not technically possible. But I'll admit, my interest is piqued. Well, let's not waste any time then. Oh, damn. He had the bottle waiting in the wings, my dudes. Oh, it's on now. Damn it. That was a setup, wasn't it? Basically. You in? Vaughn. Oh, this looks deadly. Good thing dead people can't get alcohol poisoning. Aye. To bureaucracy. Calling. Huh. To bureaucracy. Oh, that's another pretty shot. A pretty shot. God, I love this game. I love it so much. It's so good.
Answer it!
Ooh. Yeah.
Your orders arrived.
3 days late, mate.
I got held up by a mutual acquaintance of ours.
Ah, shit. That explained why he's in my air. I'll be there in half an hour. Her screen is coffee beans. That's adorable. I love that. End of the line. Ooh. Okay. The catabasis is considered to be a vital part of the hero's narrative. Every hero goes to hell at some point. And in the stories, they usually come back, which is the bit that seems weird to me. I don't think that's how it works in real life. The cafe has had a bunch of heroes come through, claiming that they were going to conquer hell and come back. They never returned, as far as I saw. The idea of catabasis is that, in the grand scheme of things, hell, or the underworld, or Hades, or whatever you want to call it. Anyway, it's on the outside of wherever we are. Like, we're trapped inside a sphere, and we leave it to go to hell. Did the ancient Greeks ever consider that maybe we've been on the outside the whole time, waiting to get in? Maybe they did. Matter of perspective. I guess I'll ask one sometime, if I ever meet one. But perhaps we're just waiting our entire lives for this, to pass through the ferment to the next place. To be driftwood that washes up on the shore of whatever that next place actually is. Seems weird, but maybe that's where we're naturally meant to be. I'm thinking it's possible that this world isn't some sort of proving ground or anything. Maybe it's just a waiting room. A beautiful, flawed, complex waiting room. Personally, I don't think there's anything like heaven or hell waiting for us. No judgment either. The world doesn't ever operate in binaries or absolutes. That's just flawed human thinking projected onto things that are much, much more complex than they can ever perceive. And I don't think what's waiting on the other side is even something that we can conceptualize. I bet it's cool. It's a shame it's a one-way trip, though.
Oh, nothing else from the other two. You know, those little scenes always remind me of the episodes from Ghost in the Shell with the Tachikomas, when they talk about existential things like what is the self, and like how do they know that they're actually alive, kind of things. I love those conversations. That's probably one of my favorite episodes, is when they're just talking about like what it means to exist. Brilliant stuff. Fucking love it. Real food for thought. Food for thought? Food for thought. My goodness. I've been reading so much I can't speak. All right. Let's see. I have seven things. Getting used to it. That kind of hits me. Hubris. Dice. Standards, castles, the next place, and a 1,000 people. Yeah. So what did we get? We got another Ashley. We got another Che. Ooh, we got the terminal for once. Ah, okay. We got a death. Ooh, we got an Ed for the first time. Another death. Alright, and we got a lore. Okay. Cool, okay, so we got some more of these. That's good. Good, 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 goody, good, good. What other stories can I unlock with this? We're outside now. Oh, shit. Teen transient. Okay, so this is how I unlock to get into the next, or to get back into the cafe. Sax one, perfectionist. Don't have enough for that. Ooh, haven't done that in a while. Wait a minute. Ash's Inventions. 1. I can unlock that, but it's going to take both of these. Okay, I'll think about that one. I'll think about it. Ah! What the? Oh. That was weird. What a weird mechanic. What is this? Funeral? I could unlock this. It will take up my one Kishin, the one magic I have left. And a death. Beth 2. Okay, I haven't even looked at Beth 1 yet, so I'm not even going to bother. I think that's all of them? I don't see or hear any other ones. Okay, okay. Yeah, that's it. So there's like 4 or 5? That I can see. Well, let's read this one. because it's the required one. And then we can get back into the cafe, and I can see what other ones I can possibly unlock. A teenage boy approaches the counter. Shoulders slumped forward, head down, eyes to the ground. Eyes on the ground up until the moment he looked up to order a drink. He was old enough that he could have passed for a young adult, with a better presentation, but the posture, coupled with the oversized backpack he was wearing, were dead giveaway. Irrespective of his age, he was still just a kid. Can I get a Coke? An order befitting of a kid. Yeah, I think I can manage that. Think fast. Maddie turned around just in time to see an aluminum can hurling toward her. She almost caught it. The can rolled back toward Che, who scooped it off the floor. He hesitated a moment before setting it on the counter. No ice, right? The boy nodded. No. Or yeah. Yes to no ice. Che cracked open the can and poured it into a waiting glass, which he then slid down the counter, pushing it gently enough that it came to a rest in front of the teenage boy. Ooh, he's got them skills. He's got them bartending skills. The boy grabbed the glass. Thanks, he said. He glanced around the room. If you're looking for a place to sit, there should be plenty of seats upstairs. The boy nodded and headed for the stairs, drink in hand. Plenty of seats down here too. Yeah, but I think upstairs is more Tuin's pace. What did you just call him? Tuin? People have names, you know. That's the problem with having regulars. People expect you to remember their names. Though, now that I think about it, Tuin probably wouldn't mind finding out that you don't know his name. Can't have your name on Maddie's shit list if she doesn't know it. Should he be on my shit list? Nah, he's harmless. Dang it, It's tough. It's tough. Forgive me, guys. Knowing who's talking. Maybe a bit susceptible to peer pressure, but I think that's why he comes here. To meet with his peers. To meet people who aren't his peers. How many glum teenagers do you see around here? Too many. Maybe not enough? Please tell me you don't actually mean that. Teenagers have the highest noise to spending ratio of any demographic. Not the glum ones. And if I were a glum teenager trying to find my place in the world and trying to carve out an identity for later, or for myself, I could imagine a worse place to do it than right here. Teenagers can be glum somewhere else. Whatever happened to proper teenage delinquency? Be careful what you wish for. We've been mercifully delinquent-free for quite a while now. Proper teen delinquents don't loiter in coffee shops. They set things on fire, spray paint alleyways, and stay out past curfew. Does the city have a curfew for minors? It should. Teens need to be able to break rules, and all the better if committing acts of vandalism at 11 p.m. gives them a 2 for 1. Maybe they should avoid delinquency and just stick to general mischief. Oh no. We already have plenty of mischief around here since Ashley set up shop. Got it. Next time I see Tuin, I'll tell him he needs to be committing more crimes. What do you do if he actually takes your advice? He won't. Peer pressure only works if it's from a peer. Someone of my age telling him he'll be cool if he starts swiping liquor won't do much to assure him that becoming a thief is the ticket to popularity and acceptance. So, find another teenager to tell him. I'll keep my eyes out. Okay. So Tuin is a regular human customer. I see. Alright. Let's see what other things I can unlock now. I don't have Melbourne, so I can't do that. Judgment 1. I could do Judgment 1. I have that potential, because I got a Ned. I think, aside from that, I've done that one. Most of these are 2 down here, aren't they? Oh, this is Beth 1. I can't do Beth 1 because I don't have people. Shoot. This is Billiards 2, which I already read. Rotten Poppy. Did I miss this one? Ooh, can't do that because I'm missing Stoof. Ashley's Journal 2. Don't want to do that until I do Ashley's Journal 1. The Fisherman 3. I need to do the Fisherman 2 first. I think that's all of the ones that were down here. I don't see any more. It's just the journal. Nothing down this one. Just billiards. Just that one. Is that one? Okay. So yeah, nothing down here that I want to do. Oh, there's a sprint. Shift for sprint. Speed is key. Keep the bounce. I already did. I can't do Can I do Maddie's inbox? Nope. I need a Melbourne. Ah, damn it. Advisory roll. Have I opened this one yet? Nope, because I need a Maddie. Okay. Can't do that one. Can I do Billiards 1? Do I have enough for Billiards 1? Nope. Nope, nope, not even close. Fisherman? I really want Fisherman 2, please. I don't have any of it. I should have done peas. I should have done the food-related ones. Okay, well... I think I can do one of these down here. I think I can do Judgment, because I have Ned. And I think that's the only one I can do. Because I did that one, I did that one, I did the Fisherman. Of all the ones that are downstairs, I think Judgment 1 and Ashley's Journal are the only ones I haven't done. And I need another Melbourne. Memory. So we'll do Judgment. Alright, this will be the last story for the evening. We'll wrap it up with some Judgment. Wait, did I unlock it? I did not unlock it. Kerchink. Chase sat up in the corner of the cafe with a book in his lap. His eyes danced over the page for several moments. The words on the page illuminated by the candle that sat perched on the armrest of his chair. Then after several moments passed, he turned the page. He hadn't actually internalized any of the text on the page, nor had he taken in any of the text on the 50 preceding pages. He was vaguely aware of the fact that the book kept on referring to a man named Henry, who Che presumed was the protagonist of the book he held in his lap, but beyond that, he knew little to nothing. Che didn't particularly mind this fact. In fact, if he started actually following the story that was told in the pages of his book, he would consider it a great failure. Che enjoyed sitting down with a book, and he enjoyed the platonic ideal of reading. But when it came to telling stories, he found books to be a poor substitute for a person sitting next to him. He didn't pick up books when he wanted to be told a story. He picked up books when he wanted to be alone, to situate comfy chair and bask in candlelight, and sit silently in a meditative state. That's a mood. I get that. Half the time when I'm listening to music, it's just so people leave me alone. He turned another page. "Hey," said a familiar voice, interrupting him.
Hey.
"I'm in the middle of a book, Ned," said Che. "If you hadn't noticed." That was the book's secondary function. It deterred people who might see a man sitting alone and seize upon the opportunity to start a conversation when he was not in the mood for conversation.
Is it a good book?
I was enjoying being alone with it.
Yeah, you look really engrossed. Sorry to interrupt, but I got a favor to ask.
Why is it always to ask a favor? Looking past Ned, and speaking to no one in particular, even though there was no one but Ned near him to speak to. Why is it never, "Hey, Che, I wanted to stop by and offer you a favor"?
I did that one time. You said you were busy, which I figured was your way of politely saying, please don't bother me with this kind of visit. So I stopped. Did you?
I don't remember.
I'm sure you remembered it. It was from back before you started forgetting things. Sometime around, when the war started. You're going to have to be a lot more specific, said Che. You know, the war with the soldiers and the guns.
Ah, that war.
I did narrow it down a bit, didn't I?
I'm not that old.
Wars fought with guns even when I was a young man.
Same for you.
Did they? Well, it was the war with the,
He raised a hand to his face and flicked his helmet, mimicking the unmistakable ping of an M1 Garand.
World War II.
Which one was that?
Which one was that?
The one with the Nazis.
That sounds about right. Anyway, I'll come to ask a favor.
I hope that favor was to spend a few minutes of your time having an insane conversation, but we already did that.
Oh, but you're a bit snippy today. What's gotten into you?
Jay held up the book. A good book is what's gotten into me.
Sorry. I want to ask if it wasn't urgent. I'm in need of an interpreter. You speak Cantonese, right?
Yes?
Great. Can I steal you for a few hours?
Not if it's to be an interpreter.
Why not? You speak Cantonese. You seem fluent enough in English. So why would you say no, specifically to translate?
Being an interpreter is not as simple as being bilingual, Ned.
Isn't it? I figured you hear things in one language and say them in the other. Seems simple to me.
Ah, Ned, if only it were so easy. But it is not. Anyone who is a translator has mad respect for me, because that is really hard. Translating one language to another is very difficult. And I'll tell you why. Simply because certain things, either one, don't translate, or two, you have to word in a way that is similar but different. Because not all words are not all words go to other languages. Like, there are a million words in English that don't even exist in a majority of the other languages. Same can be said for other languages, like Spanish or French. Like, I saw a video the other day where it was simply because the French have, like, what is it, like 3 or 4 of their own letters, like, added on. In addition to the normal, like, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, like, alphabet, I believe. They have the like, AE combo letter. I saw, like, a funny video about, like, what is this? It's like, oh, well, it depends on the word it's in, and then if it's plural or not. which cracked me up. But I mean, English English is way worse on that front. There are so many stupid rules. The French can have their few unique what's it? God, English sucks. Quirks. They can have a few quirks. It's fine. In comparison to English, it's nothing. It's a drop in the ocean. Are you literate?
A bit.
Can you write a work of great literature?
Nope.
Well, there you go. There's more to translating than being bilingual.
Oh, come on. I'm in a pinch. I'm not asking you to be a great interpreter. Just an adequate one.
There's a lot of bilingual people around. I'm sure you know other places to ask.
Yeah, but, you know, I know you're not the kind of person to spill secrets.
It's the kind of conversation that I just want to be between me and one other person, you know? Great. Sounds like you need a professional interpreter. I hear they're great at facilitating those kinds of interactions.
Come on. What can a professional interpreter do that you can't?
A lot of things. But for one, a professional interpreter is someone you can count on to allow you to use their mouth to say incredibly stupid things without letting you or your contemporary know just how stupid they are. They find the interaction.
Funny that. I always figured that kind of thing you'd be good at.
Because I'm good at holding my tongue.
Yeah?
I've tried before. Kicking up his feet. Being an interpreter pays well if you find yourself working for the right people, and it leaves your hands a lot less calloused than something of the work I find myself doing instead. But you'll notice my hands have calluses. Turns out, holding your tongue is oftentimes harder than digging holes.
Come on. You know how to be a diplomat.
Fuck off. There. That was me being undiplomatic. Now, would you kindly find another solution to your problem, one that doesn't involve me performing a task that I've told you at least twice now I don't want to do? And Ed started to say something, but stopped, just short of making an utterance, and backed off.
Hey, Maddie.
No.
I haven't even asked anything yet.
I know. I thought I would save you the time.
Ugh. What is it with you people?
Maddie turned towards Ned and glowered at him. You people? Ned raised his hands defensively.
I didn't mean... Look, I just mean that you two... You're birds of a feather, in quite a few ways.
Maddie stared at him, and Ned contemplating whether there was a way for him to make a statement grouping Maddie and Shay together without making himself look worse than he already did. He sighed in frustration.
You know what your problem is?
Yes? I know him quite well. And he's standing right in front of me. Ha! Ha! Whoo! Oh, poor Ned. Can't catch a break. Alright. Oh, man. That was a good one. That was a nice sesh of Necrobarista. But, sadly, I must close the curtain, quite literally, on this evening.